Anyway, I'll be here about night. We're on.
We're on.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Shelbourne Park. We've just witnessed the opening round of the 2025 BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby.
We witnessed the draw for the opening round, not the actual opening round. Now that's the last time I want to correct you in this video, okay?
We've witnessed the opening round draw for the first round of the 2025 BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby. 144 names went into the hat. That's perfect. We have 24 heats. We're going to have 4 qualify from each of the heats. 12 on Friday, 12 on Saturday, and that will leave us with 96 into the second round. And from then on in, it'll cut in half to 48, 24, 12, 6 until we have our number one. And speaking of number ones, gotta mention this man with the weekend that's in it, Liam Gallagher, who played lots of his number ones with Oasis at Croke Park. But back to the dogs, and Eno's going to have a look at the first round heat for me. How are you?
Well, we have to roll with it, don't we?
Oh my God almighty. I'm in a hurry, so we're not going to do any more takes. Ian, 24 heats, 12 on Friday, 12 on Saturday. It's worked out well with the first 4 qualifying, none of this fastest 5th place mess and sort of stuff. Maybe Friday's heats look slightly the better at the moment. Let's start with them. Go on.
Yeah, well, certainly when you they obviously start with the six dogs because we had the wide seeds out first, and I think the first 5 dogs called out, amongst them were Cheap Sandwiches and Bocco's Diamond. So yeah, it was pretty clear from early that the Friday night action was going to be pretty hot. Yeah, it doesn't even matter what's in against the likes of Cheap Sandwiches and Bocco's Diamond, last year's second and first, of course. It's just the fact that they're in action will draw a crowd alone.
Yeah, well, some big names were pulled out early on. Right, we'll start off with heat number 1. You love a good pun. I can't believe you missed this one. We had Flight Club in 5, Cheap Sandwiches in 6, Club Sandwich to kick us off here at Shelbourne Park on Friday night. But look, there's some other good ones in there. There's Desert Flower in 1, Hackney Tango 2, Dara Sydney, who knows how to win around here, in 3, Ballyhimmock Rio in 4. Then we have Flight Club and Cheap Sandwiches out in 6. Obviously, Cheap Sandwiches is going to be favourite if just puts that slightly disappointing run behind him last time.
Yeah, he listen, there's no question he was a little bit off his game in his last 2 runs here, even though he won his penultimate start. He looked like a dog who was trying to get back used to the Irish traps. Missed the kick from both nights. We know what he's like when he does get loose on the bunny, and I would expect him to start a very, very hot favourite. While Flight Club can start, he has no pace into the corner. You'd assume the Cheap Sandwich will just race up the outside, go to the front, and I would imagine he'll be 3 on, and I'd imagine he'll start his Derby campaign with the success. As for Club Sandwiches, I know that's a shocker. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, no, it could be a Club Sandwich forecast. On to the second heat, Ian. Another cracking heat again, as you'd expect. Toolmaker Giuseppe in 1, Brickhill Mona 2, Danzig Rebel 3, Drogon in 4, Lenny's Magic 5, Snazzy Boss out in 6 for Graham Holland yet again. Toolmaker Giuseppe ran well in Dundalk last Friday night, the Spring Cup night. Has his draw. Quite frustrating, but he's quite pacey and is a decent draw in trap 1 here on Friday night.
Often better in better company. Tends to find 1 or 2 getting in his way when he doesn't have dogs blazing out in front of him. I'd be very keen to have a look at Lenny's Madge. She's a very, very fast lady, and just given the race that's in it, it's not overly hot. Like, there's not an awful lot of early speed in the race. If she managed to turn a bit closer than she has been doing, yeah, she'd be hard to beat. She's a fast lady. Herself and Giuseppe both be finishing fast. Snazzy Boss is a great draw. He produced the best of his form. He too will have a big say. Without seeing the form on paper, it's sort of hard to get a real feel for it. Not a contest I'd be getting too heavily involved in unless they went a wrong price about something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. On to heat 3. This sees Droopy's Patriot, who was only just beat in Dundalk. I couldn't believe actually the margin, how close it was.
Look, 3 parts of a length.
I just said it to
I couldn't believe it.
I
couldn't believe it when it's in a short head, thinking that's one of those long short heads.
Yeah.
And like, it was literally an inch. It was unbelievable. Yeah, he's a very, very fast greyhound. Wasn't overly fluent on the opening bends at Dundalk over the last 2 to 3 weeks. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on here at Shelbourne Park. Obviously, he's a hugely, hugely talented greyhound, and I happen to know that Robert has a bit of confidence in him. Yeah,
look, I know the 400 is a sprint, but when you look back over the years, some dogs that have come from that competition have went really, really well in the Derby. Of course, we've seen Carricaldo last year. Years before that, you had Good Cody, who went really well. Slip the Lark ran in something similar. It wasn't the Spring Cup, but it was a big spring competition down there before it. He went really, really well. Like, dogs have come from Dundalk and gone well here before in the past, and I think Droopy's Patriot can go a long, long way in this. Look, Lemon Joey's out in 6 as well. He deserves a mention. As to does Westway Ross at Born Time, won the big race down in Tipperary, and Fate Point Harvey is no slouch either.
It's cracking heat. Like, it really is. Like, this is not a heat where there'll be an odds-on favourite.
No, definitely not.
They may back something strongly, but I'll tell you something, any mistake at Trap Rise and Fay Point Harvey, natural starter. Westway Rossa, when she gets on a bunny, not too many pick her up. She's 29.40 out there for 550 yards. Born Time is the Tipperary Cup winner, probably not quite the same grade, but we know Lemon Joey, he's a classic winner. It's a good contest. Again, you know, I'd like my selection to be in front after 5 yards.
Yeah, Stefan's Goal actually is good form over the sprint trip in Dundalk as well. On to heat number 4, Carol Ramsbottom has 2 in here. Check for Cash and Harry Houdini. Obviously not an ideal draw for Carol, both of them early pace performers, but I'd say Check for Cash is probably the classiest dog in this race. Would you agree?
I'm going to go with the other wild. If I was to pick out 3 or 4 dogs that I think could really come into their own during the Derby, he'd be amongst them. I like the way he won here at Shelbourne a couple of weeks back. I know they think an awful lot of him.
He's only been beaten once or twice, isn't he?
He got picked up. He won the. Was it in Clonmel? He won the stake in Clonmel, didn't he?
I think
the unraced stake in Clonmel, and then he was off the track for a good while. He seems to have lovely turn of early speed, and again, I'd say what we've seen of him in recent weeks is only scraping the surface. I think there could be a huge Derby campaign in this dog if things go right in the early rounds. So he'd be my choice, but Check for Cash is the dog. Like with the classy form, he's track record breaker in Tralee, albeit he only held it for 15-20 minutes. But he's the obvious danger. All the remainder are very capable of a big run. They're all very talented. They'd all be mini open to open class greyhounds. So like there's no room for error. But I just really like the other wild, and I just think from that draw, I think he could be the one to beat.
The next 4 heats look red hot on Friday evening, starting with heat number 5, the return of the champ, Bocco's Diamond, out in trap number 6. Epic Ace is a big runner in here. He really catches the eye. He's got so much pace. Like he got to the final of the Spring Cup down in Dundalk, and for a sprinter he can sometimes miss the kick, but when he gets it right, he's very, very hard, very capable greyhound. But Bocco's Diamond, again, he's going to be odds on here and hard to beat. Very
hard to beat, although if you were picking a race just to worry him a little bit, it'd be this type of contest. Shanahy Boomer, the Derby, maiden Derby champion, a real professional at the traps. Epic Ace, we know how fast he can be. Harlequin G up is a bit of early speed. Ballymac Lake is a dog who I think is still a work in progress. I think he reminds me a bit of the Laddie Da in 1 or 2 of his races. I just think he's improving. Don't be surprised if he turns into a proper greyhound. He's a tough draw here. Manalishi Jet is good early speed. Like if Bocco's Diamond does happen to miss the kick, or just completely make a hash of the traps, he just won't get things too easy. But listen, if he's the same greyhound that was in the Derby last year, he'll come home in front, simple as that. But it's not a race where he can afford to just be sort of lackluster. He'd have to be at his sort of, he wouldn't have to be at a shiny best, but he'd need to be doing things right at Trap Rise anyway.
I think he could go off a backable price in this race. I think he could go off maybe 4 to 6. I really do. I think there will be, money will come for the others, and some people weren't happy with his trials, but look, he's with the best trainer there's ever been, and he'll have him flying for this. But I do think he will go off a backable price. On to heat number 6, another cracking heat. Priceless Romeo in 1, Cash Out Girl in 2, Southwood Stan, who ran so well here on Saturday night, in 3, Toolmaker King likewise. Bombay Pat was electric on his return to action, and Hello Diego, what a solid greyhound he is. Really hot heat 6.
Yeah, cracking heat. I think Bombay Pat will take the world of beating. But we know what Bombay Pat can do. He's not the most consistent at boxes, but a couple of shrewd men I spoke to over the weekend going, I don't know, it's all last year's dogs, and there are a few young dogs there that will step up to the plate, but just of those that we've seen and are well established, he's the one that you got to say is purring. He trialled very, very well. His run here the other week, you on duty, was just brilliant, and it was just a reminder of just how talented he is. And whatever he achieved in Toaster is a bonus, because it's a Shelbourne Park greyhound. And yeah, I'm gonna say he's gonna take the world of beating, because Toolmaker King, if he goes anyway, it'll be in. Same with Southwood Stand, so he should get room into the opening corner. Hello Diego stays wide. He can often trap, but he doesn't have the pace into the corner. You'd assume Bombay Pat will just get a lovely seam up the middle of the track and go to the front at some point before the second bend, and that'll be that.
Yeah, heat 7 again, another cracker. Sunshine Sue in 1, Proper Heiress, big English hope for this year. Venus Memphis ran well last week, 28-20, that was a huge run. Mr. Mbola in 4, Full in the Run, what a greyhound he is, real good servant for the Malones. And Ballinabola Joe. Ballinabola Joe, maybe a little bit disappointing on his last run, but previous run that he was very, very good. Yeah,
he's been lightly raced. I think everything has been targeted at this, and I'd say whatever he's been doing in recent times, I'd say they've picked up the work in the last few weeks. We know how talented he is. He has immense pace. Like, you saw the early rounds of the English Derby, how good he was. And again, I just get the impression that this is the target. So he's a big, big player. But the real fascinating story here is Proper Heiress. If it can produce its best, Category 1 winning form in the UK, has 4 or 5 major prizes in the UK, just has it all. Good starter, good down the back, strong. We saw that. Like, it beat Bocco's Diamond Juvenile over in Toaster. So you got to remember that. Obviously, he's had a draw here, a trial here, which makes a difference. But it does take them sometimes those 2 or 3 races to get the start right. He will need to get the start right because Phoenix Memphis flashed from boxes the other night, and he does tend to favour an inside line. Sunshine Sue isn't the fastest to the opening corner, but he's very strong. It's a fascinating affair. And it'll probably come down in terms of the betting to Proper Heiress and Balnabola Joe, maybe with Balnabola Joe starting favoured, but you can take nothing for granted here. Fascinating contest, mainly because of the appearance of Proper Heiress.
Yeah, I do like Sunshine Sue. I think he's a slightly underrated dog for Ron McKenna. I think he can go a good few rounds in this competition. A dog that's not underrated, Deladi Da, you're a big fan of his. He goes in trap 1 in Heat 8 again, another strong contest. Ballyhooly Bruno, the 600 winner. Oreo Ollie won a big competition here a couple of weeks ago. He was very good. Bovis Raven, decent bitch for Jamie McGee. And then you have the 2, we call them maybe last year's dogs, very, very good. Solo Mio and Kusain Pickles, who are more than capable. This is the cracking heat as well.
Solo Mio's this year's dog.
Sure,
he debuted just before the...
But he seems to be around the while, isn't he? We've heard of him a while.
Before the Kirby. Went into the Kirby, is a very lightly raced dog, ran so well in it. Finished second, didn't he, the Kirby?
He did finish second.
Then ran very well in England.
English Derby,
a bit unlucky not to be, get to an English Derby final. He's loads of pace. And again, something similar to Balnabola Joe. I think Peter Cronin said, right, we're going to have a crack at the Derby. Let's put him away. Let's keep him quiet. Ramp up the work before the Derby and get to work then. And I'd say that's the case with Solomeo. He's a big player. Kusain Pickles has had, obviously she's had problems over the last few months, maybe seasonal, I don't know, maybe picking up an injury here or there, but she's hugely talented. But when it comes down to it, if the laddie da does what he did in the opening round of the English Derby, remember that night? I'm after saying during the week he's probably not as sharp as he was. He absolutely blew the lids down, did his fastest run of the whole competition. And if you actually look back at the English Derby final, he ran an absolutely unbelievable
He was only beaten, a length and a half?
Yeah, he beat out after getting badly done early and been out the tail. It was just a remarkable run. And we haven't even mentioned Ballyhooly Bruno as a classic winner. He won the Shelbourne 600. Talented race. But the laddie da, Solomeo, Kusain Pickles, Ballyhooly Bruno, sort of in that sort of order. That'd be the way I'd be looking at them.
I don't think there's a huge amount of early pace in here. I think Ollie could go well. He was very good the last time. We don't have form in front of us. We're all going off the top of our heads. What has the laddie da done since the English Derby? I think he said a sprint run around here, I think, has he?
I don't think he's had an awful lot, to be honest.
He'd have to have some sort of a run. The great Jimmy McGee even gets it wrong at times, don't you, Ian? Right, on to heat number 9. This will be race 9 on Friday night. Great Morning in 1, Harlequin Paul 2, Slip Along Duke 3, She Be The One in 4, Can You Steve in 5, and a 2-time Derby semi-finalist, 7 Beach, out in 6. He just seems to be like a fine wine, this dog, doesn't he? He's flying.
Yeah, he's had an unbelievable year. Just looks as good as ever. He's not like, while he does seem to be around a long time, and he is around a long time. This is going to be his 3rd Derby campaign. If you actually look at his record, they haven't raced the legs off him. And this year every major he's run in has been a 1, 2, 3 run stake. I think he's probably had a fine prep, and I've seen no evidence to suggest he's not as good as ever. I won't be opposing him anyway, certainly not from that draw. She Be The One was brilliant earlier in the year in the Puppy Oaks. She's a very talented lady. I think she probably would prefer the 525 run up than the 550 run up. I think they might just be getting at her into the opening corner. She's a tricky enough little draw there, but 7 Beach, she'll be odds on.
Most definitely, yeah. Heat 10, Caseman's Force, Ardira Freya, who was an Oaks winner down in Cork, was it? Cork Oaks?
Listen, you're asking the wrong man. My memory's
I'm asking the wrong man. If you don't know, nobody knows.
She did a clock, I think, at one point down at Clonmel for the 550 yards. But that was quite early in her career. I think she'd only had 5 or 6 races at that stage.
Could have been. Look and Lep was good around here on Saturday. No More 50s ran actually okay on Saturday. He was
desperate looking not to get around in front. Just got clipped on the opening. Was it Look and Lep that actually pushed him out of the way?
I think it was the same race, Look and Lep,
and of course the two of them drawn.
Same again. No More 50s is in 4. Droopy Slick for Rob Gleeson in 5. And Beck Goodwin Ben is a fascinating performer out in 6. He's with the Buckleys. Started off his career in Enniscorthy. This looks a wide open heat as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, not an easy one to price.
No.
Obviously, Beck Goodwin Ben is very lightly raced, as is Droopy Slick. Droopy Slick hasn't put it all together yet, but he's shown enough to tell you that this dog can run. I'd suggest the 550 run up might suit him. But he'll need to be on his toes because No More 50s is good sprint form. Went up very strongly the other night. Look and Lep showed like he absolutely forced dogs out of the way at the opening corner and just has the right attitude. Our dear Frey is capable. Not an easy race to call, But I'll be keeping an eye on Droopy Slick, see if they go a decent price.
Yeah, they've backed him a couple of times. I don't think he's won a race yet, has he?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's a good
No,
time.
but that's probably due to the company he's been keeping.
Yeah, good time to start on Friday night. Heat 11 on Friday night, penultimate race of Friday evening. Bubbly Charger in 1, Switten's Gym 2, Bushy Park Rodney 3, Hackney Corner in 4, who was formerly known as left corner back, am I right?
Yep.
Ballymac Tibet, the plate winner in 5, and So Cool, who's a UK raider, in trap number 6. I believe he's going to be with Buckley as well, is he?
So I believe.
Again, a very, very hard race to price up. Ballymac Tibet, look, he ran well in the final of the Puppy Derby. He was actually in front in the pickup, believe it or not, that night, and back to 550.
He, unlike the semis and the first round, he walked out, and was never really a player. But like as you said, he led into the escape, which seems remarkable from where he came from. We know how talented he is. He's a very fast greyhound, still sort of learning his trade. But you know, Bubbly Charger and Hackney Corner are two dogs that really do want the 550 yards. They love the longer run to the corner. They're good down the back. They'll keep going to the line. It'd be interesting to see how Bubbly Charger, how advanced he is, because he hasn't been raced too often. And Hackney Corner, I'll be honest, I've had one bet for the Derby, a little nibble each way at a big price. It was Hackney Corner. I think he was still known as left corner back at the time. It's the only bit of business I've done thus far. Obviously he's taken a tumble and stuff since, but he trialled okay here at Shelbourne Park on Saturday night. So again, they weren't rushing to get him back to the track. I think they wanted him ready for the Derby, and here he is. It's a good race, a lot of quality here. Yeah, there is. Heat 12 will be the last race on Friday night. Sword Style, a good winner here on Saturday. Dr. Darcy in 2, the Bono Lad in 3. Drumbeg Banner, the Ledger winner. Black Eyed Turbo for Kevin Losty was an Oaks finalist, I believe, and Knockout Hero out in 6. She might have finished second in the Oaks, did she? Yeah, there was awful trouble. Yeah, she was definitely second or third. Dr. Darcy in 2. Massive fan of this dog. I know he's owned by the Thirsty 7 Syndicate, but I have to be. It has to be the Thirsty 8 because the money I've lost on this dog, I should have shares in him. I hope you got a few quid back on Saturday. I got a small few quid back on Saturday. I just think he's so much pace from the last bend home, and I think if he can get through a round or two of this Derby, it will suit him because the better dogs will be gone further ahead of him, and then he'll have room to run because he's in these good A1s here, and he's going to the bend in the middle of dogs, and he's getting in trouble, and his chance is lost. But I think if he is even last down the back straight but has room to run, he absolutely rockets home from the last bend and into the escape. Like some of the stuff he does. What price he runs in a 750 Derby finally? Well, he won't because he'd be in the final of the Derby, isn't that right, Carol? But yeah, I'm sure if he gets knocked out, that's it. Carol went that route with the wonderfully named Pablo Escobar. Bark, yeah, he won a Derby final as well. Anyway, Sword Style was very good here on Saturday. Really impressed with him. Yeah, and he's only a young dog, improving with Graham Holland. He doesn't need to improve. He's flying the flag for swords as well. He is, yeah, Sword Style, named after me. But he doesn't need to improve an awful lot to be right up there with the top of them. It doesn't. Really impressed with him. Magical Keith set a strong gallop here on Saturday night and over the 550-yard trip. You think he's home and hosed. And this dog just, off the last bend, he was full of run and really ran to the line. 29.59. It was a good clock on the night. I liked him a lot. Given the fact that he's Dr. Darcy in 2 and the Bono Lad in 3, he should have loads of room to race early. He should turn very prominently. Very interested to see how Drumbeg Banner takes to the place. He's terrific early speed, just a real professional, and really seems to be coming into his own. And I wouldn't just go sleeping now on the Ledger Champion. He is a classic winner. They'd be the two I'd be looking at, Sword Style and Drumbeg Banner. Certainly from a pace setting angle, I think Sword Style will probably, with the makeup of the race, I think he'll be favourite. Like you, I'll be keeping an eye on Dr. Darcy from the second bend home. Black Eyed Turbo is something similar, should be finishing well. Decent little contest, but I'd say Sword Style will probably end up being a short enough price favourite. Yeah, Sword Style won the last race here on Saturday night, and he will line up in the last race this Friday night. On to Saturday's action. Heat 13 will kick us off on Saturday night. Callaway 5 won here the weekend. Prince Nazim for Kim Bergen. I think he got to a semi-final, didn't he? Mairead's Diamond, a very interesting runner for Fraser Black. Badly Behaving won well down the country at the weekend. Flashing Lilac was very good here 2 weeks ago. And Groucher's Hoffa is really getting to grips with the place here. Great way to kick off racing on Saturday night. Yeah, really good contest this. Sort of, at one point, I've been a fan of each of them, really. Callaway 5 looks so promising down in Kilkenny. Went off the boil a bit in the good company here at Shelbourne, but Saturday night got back to himself. Got a start, and that was the key to his success. He ran very well on the bunny. Prince Nassim, he just never runs a bad race. Mairead's Diamond looks such a prospect on debut. He's thrown in the deep end here. He's still lightly raced, and it's tough enough because he's flanked by plenty of early speed. Badly Behaving is a real professional. She'll race prominently. I just don't know if she's really going to be able to put up to the boys unless she gets around in front. Flashing Lilac was brilliant against Cheap Sandwiches. she showed good early speed. She got to the front. He headed her briefly down the back straight. She ends up beating him 3.5 lengths. Like that's the Derby runner-up, the English Derby finalist, and it was only her first success, but I think it was the first of many. I think she could be anything going forward. I wonder will inexperience cost her down the line, but she could be anything. And then Groucho's Hoffa. I don't think we've yet really got to the real bottom of this fellow. I like him a lot. He's terrific early speed. He's just given them a bit of a start at boxes and flown into the corner. There's a real chance this fellow could turn into a top-class Greyhound. Groucho's Hoffa. He's one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's a lack of experience in that, but like the Callaway 5, Mairead's Diamond, Flashing Lilac, I don't think any of them have hit double figures just yet as regards races. On to Heat 14, a couple of these have certainly hit double figures. The Bold Rose, Lemon Orla, Barefoot on Song, Headley's Trump, Glengar Silent and Tarsna Maasai, he certainly hit double figures. He went well in this last year. Did he get to a semi-final or a quarter-final?
I'm not sure where he went out, to be honest, but he seemed to be thereabouts and in other competitions. I think, he went to Thurles and he ran the Tipperary Cup and stuff, but Shelbourne Park 550 yards is what he wants. This is where he likes to be, and that's where he produces his best form. And he is one that, what would you call him? Like he'll be the cool pick. He'll be the one going, oh, Tarsna Maasai trap 6 tonight. That's the one. Like that's the draw. But this isn't easy. No. Lemon Orla is an absolute monster from the second bend home. She's so fast. Barefoot on Song is very, very quick. Headley's Trump, look at his 550 yard form around Tralee. It's very, very good. And Glengar Silent, much like one or two of the other dogs I mentioned earlier on, he's very, very, very raw to start his career, and he's improved every single night. I think he's a huge engine, and 550 yards will only help him. Don't sleep on him. He is a dog who could definitely, if just things click, he could go deep into the Derby.
Tarsna Maasai will go off favourite there, but he will be a long odds-on chance to lead that. There's not a lot of early pace in that heat.
Probably looks a likely pace setter on the outside, and for that reason he'd be hard to pick up because he could do 29.45 in his sleep. But Glengar Silent is a dog who I could see doing 29.20 down the line.
Good stuff. On to heat number 15, Ballymac Untold Ruffia, who was the juvenile Derby champion the last year, was he?
National Puppy
Stake, sorry. Happy Jet and Tree. Fahy Phantom, who won in, I think it was Cork over the weekend. Carrick Scolesy was ultra impressive here on Saturday night, and Kerry Pimple, who won a Derby trial stake here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Carrick Scolesy, I could tell by your voice and commentary last Saturday night, you were very impressed by him. Did he beat it? What did he beat in second? Was Sunshine Sue second? It was a really solid dog back in second place, which made it even more impressive.
Sunshine Sue ran on Saturday night. I just can't remember what it could have been. Sunshine Sue.
Yeah, it could have been. And the way he, I'm a big fan of Sunshine Sue, and the way he beat him, that was there, the form was there, and the time was there everywhere on the track. He was very impressive.
We've been waiting for that.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been trapping well enough in Shelbourne. Robert actually sent me a text yesterday, keep the middle on him or not. I said, you get a crack at the middle. You'll get one more crack at it. You can change the seed, and then he trapped much better from 5. He will edge in. Creek Pimple knows how to run. He's a 29.50 run around Shelbourne Park over 550 yards. He can run well from 6. Ballymac Kamala has lovely early speed. She's a really versatile lady for Liam Dowling. Untold Rufia, he actually ran a sneakily good race the other night. He's missed the kick last.
He finished well, didn't he?
He absolutely hammered home. I couldn't believe when I saw the result how close he was. There's a big run in him. Happy Jet just isn't trappy enough. He's loads of pace, he's strong. And Fahy Phantom, he's just been he's been a bit caught out to the corner in his previous races here at Shelbourne. It'd be interesting to see if he can get a start. But if Carrick Scolesy starts like he did the other evening, he'll be very, very hard to beat. But again, there's enough quality in this race where any mistakes could be costly, not just in terms of winning the race, but in terms of qualification. It's that good a race.
Heat 16, Salah Curley in the red jacket, microchip in 2, Hopes Teddy, the Easter Cup champion in 3, Magical Major in 4, Town Lucky in 5, Ballinabola Jim, Big Jim out in trap 6, very unlucky not to make the final last year. Magical Major won here last week, just got up on the line in about 29.70 I think it was, but you got the impression there's much more to come from him. He just didn't seem to know how to pass dogs in front of him. He has a poor draw on the outside of Hopes Teddy.
Yeah, but Hopes Teddy is a railer. He will edge in if he gets loose. And Hopes Teddy is pretty natural. You'd expect him to lead up Salah Curley. For all that microchip has shown a bit of foot into the corner in his races, this is a very different class. Very different class. So I'd assume Hopes Teddy might just edge inwards and give Magical Major that room he needs in the first few strides. I'll be honest, he did 29.70 odd here the other night. If he goes 10 lengths faster, it wouldn't be surprised to me. I think...
You would though. Come on, that's 29 seconds.
I genuinely think this fellow is as fast probably as any dog in the country. I think the word about the dog, the reputation he has, he's owned a train pack of foil. Like, Pat's not one to rave about dogs. Like, he's got that many fast dogs through his hands. I get the sense they think this fella's a bit special.
What he done to Ballymac Stud tonight in the Celtic cooling, refrigeration and air conditioning.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well
thanks very much.
Well
what he done in the final of that
Say
race.
that in the last 10 yards.
What he done in the final of that race was exceptional. I backed Ballymac Stud that night, and I was more than happy turning for home. I said it's in the bag, but my God, what he done up the home straight was very, very impressive.
Now we're at that stage where we need to see him doing it. We need to see him getting out and doing what he can and showing us what we believe will be there. It's just not that easy. You know, Town Lucky's strong. He probably won't challenge him early. Ballinabola Jim, for all his troubles, he's not the greyhound he once was. He ran very well here recently. He's a veteran now. He's a 90-pound greyhound who has had issues. So, listen, Hope's Teddy was a brilliant winner of the Easter Cup. He's had his issues too.
Yeah.
And he's entitled to be well supported. But I'll be a bit disappointed now if Magical Major doesn't win.
Bit of a shout, but yeah, I really do like that dog. I think he's a tough draw there on Saturday night. On to heat number 17, the Magical on Fire, another one for Pat Buckley. KG Billy, really like this greyhound, doesn't get the credit he deserves, rocks up in all the big competitions. Finalist in the Ledger at Limerick, ran okay here on Saturday night. He's back again. Body Mind Spirit in 3, Bartlemy Mainu in 4, Omni Mist in 5, and Rural Pest, who will go off favour for this. He was unlucky in the final of the Juvenile Derby recently. I thought he was just caught by Toolmaker King, and he was also caught again then by
just a little clip by Toolmaker King into the corner.
Just caught by...
And then found himself on the outside of a bitch who is unbelievable down the back straight, and then get up my boys up there inside
flying,
as well.
So
if he traps, he wins.
Yeah.
And he's 28.07 for 5.25. He's won over 550 yards here. Always looked like a dog that say 5.75, 600 yards to me. I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't win that. I agree with you. On the inside, Magical and Fire can run well. KG Billy is a dog who he's been there, done that. If you look at his record at Shelbourne, I think he's run races over 550, 575 and 600. He's just a really tough, honest, consistent greyhound. Certainly capable of playing a part, as is Bartlemy Mainu if he did things right at traps, but I think Rural Pest should be different gravy. Yeah,
2 to 5 I'd say at best in that sort of a heat. On to heat number 18, a couple of Ballymac stars in here, but Blast Off Heffos in 1, Ballymac Danica in 2, Ballymac Stud in 3, Denied Access in 4, Rallying Mac in 5, and Alva Mist for Deck McDonough out in 6. Danica and Stud.
I'd like them the other way around.
Yeah, so would Liam Dowling.
Yeah, I think they'll finish first and second in whatever order. It depends how Danica turns up. It's hard not to remember Seven Beach running away from her down the back straight in the what was it, the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
But she's very, very talented. She's had her issues. She was lightly raced over the last few months, but she's a big player. But I get the sense, much like Magical Major, the talk, I have a feeling that down in Ballymac they think an awful of this greyhound. He was backed for that unraced stake prior to the start of the competition.
This is Stud you're talking about now?
Yeah. I think they really think the world of him.
He's thrown in 2 bad runs. Like he 3 out 3, and then he threw in a bit of a stinker. And then the following week, he had every chance to throw it away, and he ran an absolute blinder.
That was his best run.
Yeah, he ran a blinder, but then the week after that again, he wasn't great. So, is he a type of dog that you can see going through 6 rounds?
He's still
perfect.
He's still a puppy. He's still raw. And the 550-yard run to the corner will definitely play to his strengths.
Yeah, definitely suit him. On to heat number 19, Rolo Tokyo in 1, Cloverfield Clan 2, Barefoot on Fire in 3, Callaway Kinnegar, last year's 3rd. Was he 3rd?
Yep.
Cushy the Best and Upper Horgan, who's been keeping good company around here in recent weeks. Callaway Kinnegar, not an ideal trap draw. He will go off favourite. Rolly or Tokyo will have his supporters. It's a decent enough contest. Not going to be plain sailing for Callaway Kinnegar.
No, and if you were on anti-post or if you were one of his connections, you'd be just hoping to get a clean run around the corner because he'll qualify in the first 4. But it is one of those races where he has enough early speed to get himself in trouble in that type of company.
Cushy the Best.
There's not dogs who would be flashing away from him. Cushy the Best, if he was at his best, would probably be very hard to contain into the bend. But Callaway Kinnegar has enough early speed to be right up there with Rolo Tokyo, Cloverfield Clan. You're just hoping he gets a clean passage. If he does, like his trial form and even 1 or 2 of his race forms this year, he's still an immensely fast greyhound. Probably didn't turn into the dog we thought he was. He had an issue through last year's Derby. you know, look at his early trial form this year. It looked like he was going to kick on. Hasn't quite, but still a huge engine, and it'd be no surprise to me see him going deep into a derby again. But again, just not the most ideal draw in the opening round.
Yeah, heat 20. If you're here on Saturday night and you have 15 minutes to spare, give Pat Guilfoyle a shout, because he'll need a hand in heat number 20. He's Magical Keith in 1, Dale Road Duke in 2. Colours are green, formerly with Pat Guilfoyle in 3, Boyle Sports Blue in 4, Blossom State in 5, and the third of the Guilfoyle runners out in 6, Magical Sapphire. As you said to me, it's green v blue, but that doesn't tell the story. Magical Keith and Dale Road Duke. This is wide open, isn't it?
Wide open. Yeah, really wide open. Dale Road Duke produces his best sort of Champion Stakes winning form. He's always capable of a big run.
Inconsistent though, isn't he?
Just, he always favoured the inside. Magical Keith ran well here the other night, but just didn't quite get home. It was picked up by Sword Style. Magical Sapphire is a good draw on the outside, but colours are green, still young. You obviously remember that very fast lyric, King Sheeran, you know.
Magical Mary.
Yeah, you know, a brother to Magical Major. I think he's going the right way. It took him a little while to settle in with Paul. He's improved every night. Ran a big race in the final of the Maiden Derby behind Shanahy Boomer.
He did.
He'll need to be on his toes early. I have a feeling that there's still much better to come from the dog.
Yeah, there is. That's definitely a tricky draw for him though, Ian, with Dale Road Duke and Magical Keith on his inside.
Yeah.
Heat 21, Fate Point Ranger in 1, a Brunch Pal in 2, Timmy's Bucks 3, Dale Road Devon in 4, Razzle Dazzle Camaria in 5, and Bob. Boyle Sports Bob out in 6. What's the latest on Boyle Sports Bob, do you know, or what has he done recently? As I say, we don't have form in front of us.
No, but knowing PH, you know, after what happened in the Easter Cup.
Initial terms here, PH. Paul Hennessy, for those of you who joined us for the first time. You know, after what happened in the Easter Cup, they ran him in the English Derby. Didn't quite happen from there. It's Paul's sort of modus operandi with this type of greyhound. Well, that's fine. Let's get him home, get him in good order, and get him ready for a crack at the next major, which happened to be the Boyle Sports Irish Greyhound Derby. I would assume the dog's as well as he can possibly be. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. He's got a great draw there. He probably isn't as sharp as to the corner as he possibly was earlier in his days, but the engine's still there. Fate Point Ranger will be hotly fancied, you'd imagine, by many. Just still has a bit to prove in Dublin in terms of 550 yards, and he's been very lightly raced since the Kirby, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get him back to that level of form. Yeah, cracking heat. On to 22, Born Braver in 1, Tetra Destiny 2, Lenny's Dream in 3, the Bowl Falcon, good to see him back as well, Highview Plan in 5, and Droopy's Deploy out in 6. This is open enough, I suppose. Droopy's Deploy and Born Braver will be well fancied in here, but Lenny's Dream can finish with a real rattle, and the Bowl Falcon, it'd be interesting to see what he still has left.
Yeah, interesting contest. Not one you could sell out in any of them. They're all a bit hit and miss at times. You know, they go through good patches and bad patches. Droopy's Deploy, his victory here the other night was his first win since winning that competition in Newcastle earlier in the year. Born Braver, I think they like this dog. He's got a decent draw there. It's not a race where there's a huge amount of early speed, so it'll be interesting to see what turns close enough to the pace. Lenny's Dream is very fast. She showed that in the Maiden Derby, was it?
Yeah.
You know, was right bang in contention at the third bend when badly balked, so just don't sleep on her, but a wide open contest. Certainly probably one of many watching briefs.
The penultimate race of round 1, Heat 23, will be the 11th race on Saturday night. Cosmonaut, you were delighted with your joke earlier on, wasn't you? Out of this world. Triangle Brando in 2, Harlequin Coolio 3, Magical Madge, who I called Magical Mag, who I was calling Magical Madge for some reason in commentary last week. Apologies about that. Once I said it once, I just kept on saying it. Droopy's Map in 5, and another English runner out in 6, Ballymac Axel. What do you make of this?
Tricky enough. I know they think a bit of Droopy's Map.
Yeah, more does, yeah.
He's a full brother, repeat mate into Droopy's Kathleen.
That's right.
It was a nice run from the other night in defeat. He's going the right way. But if you look back at the first round display of Ballymac Axel in Limerick,
yeah, Kirby was very good.
Massive.
Yeah,
it was a huge run. He got badly done in the second round when in a lovely position to challenge again. They think a fair bit of this dog. You know, he's from a very fast family. Just don't be surprised if he runs well. It's not a race I'd be getting too involved in, but if I was to back something, it would be probably one of the two, Magical Mag or Ballymac Axel. Magical Mag has been running well in the race and is always capable of a good run, but yeah, Ballymac Axel is one that could certainly play a part for the UK.
Yeah, I think Magical Mag has a great chance in that race, just has the experience over some of our younger rivals. On to Heat 24, the last of the first round heats. Solo and Go in Trap 1. Unanimous Leo, runner-up in the Juvenile Derby in 2. Derby in Last in 3. Ventry Fate in 4. Hotwood in 5. Lenny's Desire out in 6. A lot of early pace on the inside here. Solo and Go and Unanimous Leo. Whatever one of those leads around the first bend will go a long way to taking the spoils.
Yeah, but they'll literally have a target on their back, because if Lenny's Dream or Lenny's Desire turns close from the outside draw, like this is, like you saw his run in Toaster, it was absolutely monstrous. He's a little bit inconsistent at boxes, much like his brother Epic Ace, but I'll tell you something, he has an absolutely huge engine and is one, very much like I said about Boyle Sports Bob. Paul has been picking his targets with this type of dog. He doesn't want to overly race them and have them right as rain for the big one. And Lenny's Desire deserves to be in the top 10 of the betting for the Derby, and I think it'd be very hard to beat.
Well, there you go. Thank you. That's 24 heats, 12 on Friday, 12 on Saturday night. Please try and join us if you can. Both nights or even one will do. And if you can't catch us, all the action will be available on the brand new Barking Buzz app. That's it for myself and Ian. Hope to see you on Friday. All the best.